finally unboxing the Galaxy Watch 4. 40mm, LTE, 4G, and also in black. What's in the box? What's in the box? It's actually not called the Galaxy Watch, it's much more called the Galaxy. Have you ever seen one of these keynotes where the head of Samsung Mobile, or I don't know what he exactly is, presents the new Galaxy? The new Galaxy. So, first of all, I thought a lot about getting one of these very big knives, but I thought I would go in the opposite direction and therefore go with a very small knife. Even though I had like a when I was a child, I basically collected these pocket knives. I mean, it's kind of a nice hobby, I guess. So I had like 20 or 30 of these, and I actually sold them all because I just didn't need them anymore, and I also tried to go as minimalistic as possible. So here is the box. Ooh, Samsung. The thing is, I didn't really look forward to this unboxing. Why? Because I did the exact same thing 2 weeks ago. Maybe more like 4 weeks. So what happened in the meanwhile? The thing is, here is the watch. Here is the watch. It's the Galaxy Watch 4 Active. And it doesn't focus on the thing. Why? Because it's portrait mode and therefore it doesn't focus on other things than my face. So, well, it's the Samsung Galaxy Watch 4 LTE, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, GPS. Use a smartphone running Android 6.0 or higher and RAM 1.5 GB above. Supported smartphones and available features vary depending on your region, operator and device. Device activation is only available after connecting to smartphones that support Google Mobile Services GMS. Please refer to your smartphone manufacturer to find out whether your smartphone supports Google Mobile Services. Available memory capacity is subjected to preloaded software. The actual device, including its color. I just tried switching to an Italian accent, but I just cannot figure it out right now. The actual device, including its color, may vary very slightly from the printed images. For more information on your devices, please visit Samsung.com. So, actually that's the whole thing, and here is a quick story. So, obviously we also have like other things in here, like the invoice, and that's already what's in the box. The box is pretty huge. Why? Because they decided to basically enlarge the packaging. So previously we had like these very small boxes from Samsung, and they were quite nice and also to keep, and now they get these very huge boxes. Why? Because it's just nuts. So, well, the story is this. I got the Galaxy Watch 4, actually just before, so I was very excited for the Galaxy Watch 4 because obviously there were a lot of things discussed and also rumored about the Galaxy Watch 4, like would it have blood sugar measurements? Or a blood sugar sensor? Would it be able to measure blood sugar, which would basically be not a game changer, but a very huge thing for diabetics, but also for people who fast and go on keto and want to measure their blood sugar levels and actually just track the data, like me. So I already kind of decided to maybe get the watch, the Galaxy Watch 4, but then this other thing happened. My Galaxy Active 2, so the predecessor, even though in terms of naming, it's not really clear that it is the predecessor. So let's go through the naming scheme. So there were like other watches like the Galaxy Watch Classic, the Gears. So there was the Gear line, then they relaunched the whole line and just called it Galaxy Watch again instead of Gear. And then what happened is that they brought out the Galaxy Watch 1, so just called Galaxy Watch. Then the second Galaxy Watch was called, well, was it called the Galaxy Watch 2? I don't know. Then there was the active version of the Galaxy normal watch, the Galaxy Active, and they made a second version of the Galaxy Active, which was called the Galaxy Active 2, which only was released like a few months after the first one, and that's the one I had. And they didn't release another Galaxy Watch Active until now. Because now the Galaxy Watch 4, this one, is basically the Active. It's also, in terms of design, basically the Active. And the other one, they just said that the Galaxy Watch, the Classic, basically the normal, the Galaxy Watch, the previous Galaxy Watch is now called the Classic, which is basically just another version. So it's basically the same watch now. Previously, it wasn't. It were two different lines with also a little bit slightly varied functionality, but now it's kind of the same watch, just with a different hardware. So the other one has a different look and also the ring, which you don't really need because there is a small hack I already discovered. So now let's actually see what's in the box. So we open it and it actually flips backwards, and then we have the watch in here, which is very nice. I mean, it looks very nice. I also already compared the sizes in the previous video I did, which in terms, so if you are watching this, then I uploaded the previous video because it kind of makes sense to upload them chronologically, even though that's not something I do till now, because I actually haven't released a lot of these videos, because I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna release them someday if I figured out the scheduling. Anyway, so as with all these unboxings, I mean, here's the watch, but it just makes sense to take a look at the watch afterwards, because this is something that's pretty much not interesting. This is the reason actually why all of these people, I mean, also suspension, but all of these people just unbox basically the box first. As I already realized, there's not much in the box apart from the charger, and the charger is basically compatible with previous watches. So the charger, so we have this box and it has two sides, which I already know because I already have one. So the box is something I threw away, unfortunately. So we have like two instruction manuals, which we just leave in there because nobody needs them and nobody wants to see them. And they're just in there for, I don't know, 75-year-old people who read these things and haven't realized that you basically at any point in time, if you have internet access, just can Google the thing, and then you don't have to search in like the big chunk of folders where you have like 330 instruction manuals. So here is the thing, and we can just pull this out, and here is the charging cable, which I just will leave it in here right now. I think. I mean, it's the same as in the previous one. I just could unpack it, but then because the thing is, I sent the other one not back because it was stolen, therefore I have the old one. And therefore I mean, I have now three because I have the one of the previous Galaxy Watch, which by the way broke due to some reasons. And this is kind of the reason I decided so quickly to get the Galaxy Watch 4, because I just didn't have a watch anymore. And since 2020, I just take a look if there was just some sound playing in the background. So since last year, 2020, I first bought the Galaxy Fit, and then I bought the Galaxy Active 2. And since then I basically tracked all of my workouts, including steps, including 10 minutes of stretching. I didn't include like walking randomly around, because the walking is something that I don't really consider as a workout, and I also try to avoid walking. Try driving with the bike whenever possible, because that's something that's just faster. So, well, I just leave the charger in here. I mean, it's pretty much the same. You have this small charging pad you also get with the previous versions. And I think it is okay if I don't show it. I mean, you can just Google it, even though that's not something that's very useful to you, because you're just watching a video and you're expecting it. But for me, I just leave it in there, and I don't want to hassle around for 5 minutes to put it back in there. So therefore, what we now have is basically a very big box, which, I mean, where do you store a box like this? I mean, and also, this just doesn't go out and you cannot really go in there. What did they think? And if you now go in there, then you obviously kind of break the cartridge. Not the cartridge, but much more. So, it worked. And now let's put it in there. It all looks very shiny and nice. And I would treat it as this if I didn't unpack it before. So now, let's take a look at the watch itself. The thing is, if you set up the watch itself, you pretty much have to log into your account. And whenever you log into all these things, pretty much the risk of you showing some of the data is there. So now let's just put it on. And I mean, it's already working, I guess. In terms of size, I could just switch. I just realized that the portrait mode was not really the suitable mode for this. But as you already kind of see, at least if you turn it a bit, there's like a 4mm ring. And this is kind of, I mean, obviously they just didn't do the display up to like the edges, which is kind of Well, it would have been nice, but obviously they didn't do it. I mean, they hopefully tried, but well, that's it. So I got the standard band. Why? Because I kind of plan on reselling it later, and I also got like just the normal version, I guess. And therefore, I mean, if you get the normal version, it already says willkommen, which is German for welcome, as you might have guessed. So now it's called the Galaxy Watch 4, and the thing is that the display is kind of better than the previous watch. In the previous videos I compared these, so the new watch to the old one. The thing is, so what do you do right now? The thing is, obviously you have to connect your watch to your phone, and if you connect your watch to your phone, then as I said previously, there are a lot of data concerns like showing your Google account and then typing you in the password, and therefore I cannot record the whole thing. Therefore this is just kind of the unboxing. What I kind of found out about, in general, about these watches. So obviously you can't just take the normal band. There are also other bands Samsung offers. So when buying this, actually I realized, or Samsung just showed it to me, the band is 40 bucks. So if you would theoretically be able to buy the watch without the band, I mean, you would just get the watch cheaper. There is also a student version, at least available in Germany, which I got because I'm still kind of a student, and therefore I just got this watch. This is basically the Galaxy, so the LTE version. There are only two versions, the standard version and the LTE version, and then obviously the different sizes, and then also the classic version. So this makes 8 versions, I guess, because there is like 40 millimeters in. I mean, you can just multiply. We have like the active and the classic. We have 2 sizes, and also we have LTE and non-LTE. That just makes 8. I don't have to list all of them, I think, because you're smart. So therefore, here is something I also realized when trying to do, like, the first time the body composition measurement. The thing is that these are 2 basically things where current runs through. Power, electrical power. The thing is, a normal body measurement, body composition measurement scale, so a body scale, body weight scale. I mean, most of the scales are body weight. Not all of them, but some of them. At least the one you use for personal use. The thing is, usually what you have, I don't have the scale with me, otherwise I would just show it to you. You step on the scale, and there you have like 4 things that are metallic. What do these things do? They send current through, basically, I mean, if my hand was my foot, then now this would work like this. You would stand on the scale, and then it would send current through your body. And depending on how fast the current and how much of the current goes through your body and actually receives, or actually arrives at the other end, from this data, the watch or the body composition scale can then kind of estimate what kind of body fat percentage you have. And this is kind of useful because the body basically consists out of 3 things, simplified. The first thing is obviously the bone and the skeleton, so the bone structure and the skeleton. The second thing is the skeletal muscles, and obviously within the skeletal muscles you also have the organs. So this would be a 4th point. If you want to divide it into 4, then it would be skeletal muscles, then your organs and all the other stuff, and then your body fat. And if you figure out one of these, you can pretty much, oh yeah, if I have one, then if I also have the overall weight, then I can subtract and do these different things, and therefore you can also figure out, for example, how much water the body has. Or so the thing the watch basically measures is called impedance, and impedance is basically how, I mean, very simplified, how fast the current flows through your body. Therefore, what I figured out, and I tried to do this with the case on, so I tried to do the body composition with the case on, and I just put 1 finger on it, and it actually says, when you do it, it says put 2 fingers on it. And here is the thing, you actually have to do both hands. Why? Because then it works just like the scale and actually sends current through the body. At least that's what I guess. So therefore you have to have, if you have a case that is like, has like 1 button covered, then it doesn't work with the body composition. That's kind of a bummer, I guess. I mean, it depends on what your normal use scenario is. I already got a case, and here is the second hack I already kind of figured out. I already wore the watch for like 2 weeks, and I also already extensively tried it, so therefore this is on the one side an unboxing, on the other side it's kind of an not first impression, but much more already using it. The thing about the old watch was that it was like really laggy. I mean, I didn't put much of it onto it, but it was just laggy. I mean, compared to a normal phone or a notebook, it was just like, oh yeah, it works now. And then, well, so this watch is a little bit faster, even though I put a few apps on it, and it also got really laggy already. So what is the big change of this watch? The big change of this watch is that it is a merger, so that the operating system is a merger between Samsung and Samsung's Tizen OS, previously called, and Android Wear. What is Android Wear? It's basically Android for watches, for wearables. That's where Wear comes from. Wear comes from. So the thing is, it's basically a Galaxy watch, but at the same time it's now an Android watch. And that's really nice. Why? Because then you have Google Pay. What you can do with Google Pay, and this is something I already tried out with this watch and it worked graciously fine. I mean, not exactly with Google Pay, because I just couldn't figure out a way to... Basically, if you have Google Pay on your phone, then what you can do is, this is kind of one of the best financial hacks I could figure out. Obviously, talking clickbait, but what you can do is, you have your account here. That's your normal bank account. Within Europe, it has an IBAN, for example. I don't know. I mean, outside of Europe, the IBAN system, I think, doesn't exist. So, you have your normal bank account, and that's very nice, and that's something you shouldn't change that much. Then you have PayPal. And what PayPal does for you, apart from playing random songs, that was just my phone, kind of playing random songs. So now, PayPal is basically the middleman between Google Pay and your bank account. This means Google Pay basically acts as the interface for paying. And why is this so crucial? Because Google Pay is a credit card. It's a MasterCard, actually. So therefore, if you now connect Google Pay to your watch or your phone, what you then can do is you just take your phone and basically pay with a credit card. Then what the credit card, I mean, it's not a credit card, it's a virtual credit card. So the next step is that this credit card on your phone is just accepted as a normal MasterCard. The next step is that PayPal so that's paid with Google Pay. Then Google Pay takes the amount from PayPal, and then PayPal just takes the amount from your bank account. So therefore, you have a credit card without having a credit card, and you don't actually have to sign up for a credit card, and therefore you can pay everywhere where MasterCard is accepted, and also contactless, obviously, because it has to be contactless because you just don't have a credit card. That's the thing about the virtual credit card. It's virtual, and therefore you don't have a credit card. At least something physical. So this is basically the big hack that now works also with these watches, and that's very nice, because that's one point I even considered going to an Android watch, even though the Android watches out there don't have like fitness tracking to the max, which this watch kind of has, apart from facts that I found out about the Galaxy Active 2, and I haven't found out about this watch yet. Here's the thing, if you have a Garmin watch, what the Garmin watch, for example, does, it tracks every single meter. Whenever you run, for example, it tracks a GPS data point. The Galaxy watches, at least the Active 2, didn't. And I also don't know about the Galaxy Active 3, but to save battery, and also, yeah, basically to save battery, they just did every 5 meters. So, for example, if you now, here are the 5 meters. On Garmin, so here is the 5 meters, and you run like this. And on Garmin, you would have like more than 5 meters, because obviously, here's a point, here's a point, here's a point, here's a point, here. So it would just track more than 5 meters. On the Galaxy watch, it would just track, oh, here is a point, that's 5 meters. Well, that's what happens. So therefore, you get kind of off GPS tracks. This is also when you sync the data, actually, the fitness data to Strava, you can get like, your pace could be off, and that's just something that's not very nice when it comes to fitness tracking, because you don't want to run 5 kilometers and then, oh yeah, I have like 2 different paces. The first one is 450 per kilometer, and the next one is like 6 minutes per kilometer. So this is kind of a bummer, but I don't know if this has improved or not. This is just something I wanted to say to you. So as we already can see here, it has 20 millimeters of band. The nice thing about these bands is that they are pretty interchangeable, and they're also covered, as you can see, they covered kind of the thing that actually is the release for the band. So therefore, you actually have to put your fingernail into it or something else, because you cannot even reach it with the fingernail. So therefore, here's another hack I find out about these watches. I mean, especially if you're paying, sometimes it doesn't work. And therefore, if you have your watch on, obviously it's very nice to also take it off very easily. And also if you charge the watch, and you have to basically charge it daily, because that's something about these watches. Here's another hack. Just get a loop band. A loop band that's flexible and that's kind of rubbery. So this is the one I got from a Casio, even though that's something I made myself out of this band here. And I just saw one on Amazon that's basically 20 millimeters and made for this Galaxy Watch. And therefore, I mean, it should arrive in the next days, and then maybe I'll make another video about it. I think that's kind of all of it. It's also already 20 minutes in. I mean, the big change is obviously the Android system now, so the Android operating system, also the body composition, and also the nicest screen. Here's just another hack I found out. I got actually a case that protects basically the outer layers of this circle. And what you can do then is you already have like the virtual crown where you actually can rotate. So the thing is, if you have the watch on and you rotate your finger around it, you can actually turn things. When you now can do just like an iPod. So Steve Jobs invented the wheel. Now the thing is, if you have like a case on it, it actually acts like as a guideline for actually turning. So therefore it's much easier, because you don't have to, oh yeah, yes, oh no. And if you have just like a case around it, you just can turn without even thinking about it. You can just turn. And the thing is now that so the case actually didn't have a screen protection, which is kind of a bummer, because the screen actually scratches. I mean, even though Gorilla Glass 17 in the future, maybe screens still scratch. If you just put your phone occasionally into the pocket with your keys, then you have a scratch. I mean, not necessarily, but it can happen, and therefore I tried to make a screen protector, also made a video about it, but it actually fell off. It just didn't work, because there was the case, and the case was like pushing the screen protector all the time, so therefore this didn't really work. So that's a first impression of it also has a speaker. It also is pretty much the best smartwatch on the market right now, apart from Apple, I guess. So it's the best like Android smartwatch on the market. And it also has these advantages of both systems. It also works really well with the Galaxy ecosystem. So for example, you can actually sync Microsoft tasks with the actual tasks Samsung makes, and then, for example, I could just put something in on my notebook, and then it would automatically sync, and then I can put a reminder within Microsoft Tasks, and then it just vibrates. And this is something that's very nice, because it's basically appearing out of nowhere in your life. You can just say, at this specific time, just remind me of this. And since the watch, apart from charging, is something you have on you pretty much all the time, also when showering, also when sleeping, because you actually want to record your sleep data, I guess. Therefore, it's like, oh yeah, I have to do this thing. And it's like you reminding your future self. So that's basically the ability this gives you. It's you being able to talk to your future self. You can write messages, and then they appear out of nowhere, and you're like, yeah, oh yeah, I have to do this. Or I actually should be more grateful to the world. And this is something that's very nice. Also, obviously, you could like schedule your day pretty accurately, and also time boxing, which is also something I already tried. Like basically pulsing my workouts, for example. Like on the previous Galaxy Active, there was like a Tabata app, which basically allowed you to pulse. So every 30 seconds you change the exercise and you try as hard as you can, and then You don't even have to have a look at the watch. Also, what I already discovered for the fitness geeks under you, their Fitbot, for example, also now offers a wearable app, which is something that's very nice. It's basically both systems that existed for Android wearables or for Android/Galaxy wearables. And now they are combined and you got both app stores, which is something that's really nice, and therefore I really appreciate the effort they put into this watch, and I'm really looking forward to wearing this again. That's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the ride.